Good morning, good morning. Oops, I forgot to put myself full screen. Hello, welcome. You'll be excited about why I was running late as soon as I tell you what it was about. Just saying. Sorry about that. My name is Heather Aston, and this is my channel, TT's Trinkets and Treasures. If this is the first time you've stumbled across one of my videos in this little corner of the World Wide Web known as YouTube, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope that you will find this video informative and entertaining enough that you will want to hit that subscribe button and change the notification bell to all. Also, if you are joining us from Facebook, welcome. I'm sorry I haven't said before now. If you are watching me from Facebook, just know that I have a page with the same channel. It's as my Facebook group, the TT's Trinkets and Treasures, or you can look me up by my name. That's a little bit easier, I have found, but welcome. Also, to those of you who are returning viewers, otherwise known as my treasures, welcome, welcome. I am so happy to have you here. Yes, I am going live this morning, and the reason is by 5 o'clock yesterday, I didn't have a lot of energy or anything. So just in case that happens again today, I figured I would jump up, get myself ready before I could talk myself out of it, and pop on this morning just in case. Because at least even those viewers that don't catch me live during the day, they would have this that they could go and watch afterwards. So, but the goal is to come back on later on tonight. I just wanted to make sure that you guys got a video today. Is all, especially since I took yesterday off. So let's go ahead and say hello to everybody here. My date is wrong. What do you mean my date is wrong? I'm confused. Like, did I schedule it for too far in the future? Oh, it's the 29th on the title. Thank you. Got it. Figured that one out just now. I will have to choose that after, it looks like. But okay. Thank you for that. I will check that out tomorrow or after I'm done, and I will fix the date. I appreciate you for letting me know. So the reason why the little thing at the beginning took a little longer than normal was because I'm having Steve send me, yes, exactly, Rosanna, I'll fix it later. That way people can refer back to this by the date. I try to put the date on all of my videos just so that people can go back and, like, if I'm talking about something I'm going to do that they want to watch, they can go back and find the video. So that's why I date the videos. So today is July 29th, 2026, otherwise known as Beth Blue's birthday. I don't see her in the chat yet, but I know she had to take off a little bit early from Rosanna. So I didn't see what that was about because I was scrambling around trying to figure out what I was going to do this morning, because I have a couple of ideas. Hi, Leah. I believe I said hi to Tina and Lynn, but if I didn't, I apologize. I was trying to figure out what Rosanna was trying to tell me, which, again, thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. So it did get brought up, my makeup, whatever, and Beth saying that she wanted to know how I did my makeup. I could easily do a get ready with me video. It just wouldn't be during the week because I'm respectful of other people's time, even if that is not reciprocated. And even if I don't watch them myself, I try to make sure that I don't come on during anybody else's time. And I believe there's a live that starts before Rosanna's. And so And I'm typically doing my makeup routine during Rosanna's live. So then I have to go back and watch the replay of what I missed while I was doing my makeup. But I don't know where I was going with all of that. Oh, I would do it on a weekend and let you guys know. But I am thinking about ordering some of that new Korean like liquid makeup stuff that starts white but then blends into your skin. I've gotten a few Korean makeup products and they are amazing. So I'm thinking I want to try that before I show everybody my routine just in case. But yeah. Betsy's hair color is blue. Yes. Yes. And she loves Larimar and Labradorite and, well, any of the blue stones pretty much. So, yes. Yes, I got her an ocean picture jasper. She got it earlier in the month, earlier this year, because that's when I saw it. I didn't want to forget. I was like, okay, just so you know, this is your birthday present. But anyways, so I figured that we would start with a little bracelet using some of the beads from this month's box. And then I have a necklace idea for with using some of last month's box. So let's go down to the mat because I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do on the bracelet. They may overlap a little bit, but we'll just see. So here are some coin beads. Yesterday, when I was just playing around, I did this bracelet bar using the English cut Kapaba jasper on some copper 18 gauge copper wire, and I used some copper spacers and some spinel in between. And I'm going to finish this off. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to do a couple of short strands of these crystal clear copper lined seed beads, and they will just attach on here. And I thought I might even do like 5 seed beads on each strand and then pull that back through another spinel and kind of go back and forth on that. So yeah, I'm really excited. But like I said, I ran out of energy yesterday, but I started this, and this is a great way, guys, if you don't have a lot of beads, but you really want to use them. This is, I mean, I used 3 of the English cut Kambaba jasper, and then only 1, 2, 3, 4 of the spinel. I just did the herringbone wrap on these, and I did them with 28 gauge wire so that I could do 6 wraps without it getting too wide. And I really like the way that that looks. If you wanted to, you could go in with some flat nose pliers and just like lightly compress each side, and they will fan out a little bit more. I wanted this to be a lower profile herringbone, so I didn't do that on mine, on this bracelet. But it's a really great way. Bracelet bars are a really great way to be able to use beads that you may or may not have a lot of. You could also turn this into a necklace bar, much in the same way, just by, well, I'll show you actually, because it's a very easy and quick thing to show. You're just going to cut a piece of 18 gauge wire, grab your ruler. Ugh. Let's see how long it. Oh, you're going to need a longer one just in case it's not 6 inches. I have a couple of necklaces sitting there. That's why it's so loud. Sorry. And the 6 inch would have been fine. Okay, so I'm right at 5 inches. So this is my center spot. I'm going to grab my bell making pliers and I'm going to put them right about, I'm going to remeasure just to make sure I'm in the right spot, and I am. And then you can just come up over and cross them like so, just like that. And then you can put beads on here, create a loop and join chain, leather, whatever it is you want to do. If you have something you want to hang from the center, you can. You could wire wrap a bead in the center. That would look very pretty as well. But it's a good way, like when you're getting to the end of the beads in your box, but you really want to use them. This is a really good way to do that. It looks like somehow this one side still ended up longer, but that it's not. It's because I'm seeing this go into the curve, whereas the length of this side is cut by the other wires. So it is relatively close to the same side on both sides. At least I think it is. Now it's going to drive me nuts. Hold on. Not that it matters. 2 1/4. 2 1/4. They're the same size. Okay. My eyes just are playing optical illusions on me. But anyways, this again is a very easy way. You could also, when you create your loop, you could, like, if I was going to do it with these and make it a matching set, I could drape some strands of the same thing using the seed beads with some black spinel and just have them drape down to the center. And like I said, you could just wire wrap a single black spinel in the bottom of this. And wait, what? My shipping label was created for the August box. Oh, now I need to know. I know they we're going to try to get stuff out a little bit sooner, but man. Yeah, why haven't we had the sneak peek yet? It's the 29th. Now I'm like, man. Okay, well, I hope we get the sneak peek soon. I'm guessing it will probably be sometime today. It is normally, like, Wednesdays is normally the day they do that. So they're probably going to put the sneak peek up right at an hour into my show. That's normally when they post things. So we should all be able to go see it after we're done here. But yeah, anyways, see, the same size spinel bead would look so pretty right there. In fact, you guys know what? Let's just go ahead and do that. I was going to do a very simple bracelet using the coin beads and such, but why don't I just show you how I would finish this and how I would do the bracelet. I will tell you that for some reason, not all of my copper spacer beads fit onto the 18 gauge strand of wire, while others did. So we might have, there might be a little bit of trickiness that we need to do. And we could even do a herringbone drop from the center as well. How would I do that without it? I don't think we'd need to. Or we could drape the strand on the inside. Okay, I have an idea, guys, that we're going to go with. I don't know if it's going to work. If it doesn't work, it didn't work, but I have an idea. I'm wondering if the way that I turn the loops, if I put some of the Kumbaba Jasper on here, and then I wanted to have a loop like kind of draped in the middle here. In fact, dang it, where is it? It was just on my mat last night, and I must have moved it off this morning, trying to clear off my mat instead of putting things away where they belong. I have a really pretty black faceted tiny teardrop pendant from somewhere. I don't remember where I got it. Oh, Rosanna, do you know what this is? So it's perfectly smooth, but it's got like that. See that line right there? And it's got like when you turn it to the side, see how it has almost like a teal color to it, but like a really dark color to it. I don't know what this is. I've done like 3 different Google searches on different days, and well, I would be making a coordinating piece to go with this. So I would be showing the necklace part of this. So then we would have both. See, that's okay. Yes, it kept coming up as obsidian or volcanic glass. Same thing. But yeah, I could not figure out what it was. One of the times that I searched for it, it came up as rainbow obsidian. But like you can even see it's got like some striping on the back. But it's gorgeous. I just haven't used it yet because I didn't know what it was. And I didn't want it to say it was something it wasn't. Even if I ended up keeping it, I'd like to know what it is. But if somebody wanted to buy it, I would want to make sure that what I was saying was the right thing. Where is that little black faceted teardrop? It was on my desk. And then I started cleaning my desk off. Cleaning my desk off. Which just means moving stuff around my mat and my desk right here. And maybe just behind me. Here's all the other stuff that I threw up here off of my mat. Man, oh, nope, that's not it. Crap. That would be pretty too, though, because it's just, that could be really pretty, actually, because it has a Picasso finish on it that's very reminiscent of, yeah, that could be really pretty. All right, that's what we're doing, folks. I have a teeny tiny faceted teardrop somewhere, and what I was going to say was that I was going to try to take my, like, the strung portion of the necklace, like, to where it went through the loop and draped down, and that's how it connected with this. You could also do that with chain. I just don't have copper chain. I would have to create my own. But see, cleaning is not easy. I know that, like, I literally just had it in my hands, and now I have like it's been sitting on my desk for forever. Cindy, are you in here? If not, I gotta send you a picture because this was the other like idea I had. Look at this dendritic agate with one of those leopard heads right above it. Is that not screaming to be a combination piece? It has like all the same colors. The spotting on the dendritic agate is perfect. Like the color, everything. So that was the other thing I was toying with. But now I'm stuck on this one. So we might do that tonight. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what I do with the teardrop, but it's okay because I found this and Obviously, the beauty gods took care of it. This would also look beautiful with the Kambaba Jasper. Look at that. Oh, I really like that other one too. Ooh. I don't know which one. If we do this, this would be in the center like that. If we do this, I just saw like some swirlies things going on here. So it's like, yes, I haven't said them yet. And I have other dendritic agate or dendritic jasper. So, do you want one? We can talk about the specifics later. I have multiple of these. See, this is why I need to do a sale, guys. The only thing is that when we do it, there's not going to some of the stuff there might only be one or two of them. So yes, Heather, are you going to show us how to make that bracelet piece? No, I'm going to show you how to do the necklace part of it, but that will teach you how to do the bracelet. Okay, so this is going to be for a necklace, but I'm going to do the herringbone on it just the same. It will just set up onto the wire here on top instead of being down on the side. So it's going to be very similar. We're just doing the necklace portion of it. Okay, so let's find my 26 gauge copper wire. Really? The other thing is that my brain is not. I'm having more issues with my brain not connecting to, like, I see something in front of me, but I don't. My brain doesn't make the connection, so it can be right in front of me, and I don't see it, which is very frustrating. So, the way I do a multi herringbone piece is different than I would do if it was a pendant. In that, let me show you just so that you can see the other one, because I don't want anybody to be confused. And I'm making a small one here just because it's easier. So when I do a herringbone piece, I will bend it at the top, make my loop like so, and then I just start winding around multiple times like so, stacking it up. I did not do a very good job at that, but luckily it's wire and you can almost always fix it. And then I put a stone on, whichever stone. I make the next loop, leaving a gap. And you go back down until you get to the thing, and then you start going around, like so, around the outside. But you go up, you would have much more wire than this. You would go up over the already turned spots, leaving for a bulkier center. So see how delicate the center of this is? If you're going over the wire with a thicker gauge, especially, then that center point is more defined because you're going over wrap spaces. I'm not doing that. The way that I do a herringbone like this is I very simply put a piece of wire on And this is the 26 gauge wire. Oh, great, Heather. You don't even have the Kambaba Jasper out. I think that's the moss agate, not the, or is the Kambaba Jasper in here too? Why would I put the Kambaba Jasper in with? No, I think that's all moss agate. So where is my Kambaba Jasper? There was plenty left over. So where did you put it, Heather? Those are rounds. Those are the cubes and the squares. Those are crystals. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, here they are. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. I don't know why I did that. I'm going to want to go through all of them when I make my decision. Okay, let's get this other stuff out of my way and out of like my elbow room so that it doesn't get knocked to the ground. The only things I need are those. The rest of this can get out of the way. All right. So I simply join the wire around and I do a single wrap with it. And then I put the bead on and I immediately start my herringbone just right as soon as the bead's on. So I'm going to go around once, around and back, and then I'm going to turn it. And yes, I'm leaving that tail on for a reason. I'll explain it in a minute. You just have to go in front of it is all. I'm going to go around, and then this will be one full turn. So I go one. Make sure that this is stretched down where you want it. And then start your second wrap. And there's two. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this wire now because I've now gone over it twice. So it's tucked down under my wraps. And when I go over it the next time, it will also get tucked under. And I don't mind that happening because I am only using 26 or is it 28 gauge? What gauge wire are you using? Heather, 28 gauge. Okay, so 2 and 2, yes. So this is our third pass. And I'm just coming up and behind my previous wraps. There's 3. We're going to go 4. And then I'm going to do 5. And it looks like I'm only going to have room for 2 Kambaba Jasper. So I'm going to close it off at 5 instead of 6. I do a little bit of an extra wrap and I cut my wire. Being very careful not to cut any of the other wire. Did I just do that anyways? No, I just did the, I don't know. I hope I didn't just do that anyways. No, none of the side wires are cut. It might have just been the extra wrap I did. And then I'm going to squish this down into place like so. Then I'm going to do, let me see, how many of those leopard faces do you have? I have several. Sorry I was out of frame. I will do it again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. I'm going to cut about a 12-inch length of 28 gauge wire. I have to find the other bead first. Sorry. I think it'll be faster if I use these ones that are a little bit bigger than the ones I used on the bracelet, because I know all of the holes will fit onto this wire. And then I'm going to put my spinel on, and then I'm going to do my second Kambaba Jasper wrap. I apologize that I was not cognizant of where I was on the mat the first go round. I apologize. Okay, so we're just going to come right here. Going to kind of start it. Squish that down. Get this first wrap nice and tight, especially because you're going to have to deal with these beads moving back and forth. So you want to make sure that you start your wire off nice and tight. I'm looking for one that has like some really pretty markings on it. And then I'm just going to start my first herringbone wrap. First one. I'm going to get this pushed down. That pushed up out of the way. I'm going to go around, go over that center wire once. Make sure that they're down so that it stays nice and visible on top. The second, and then I can go in and cut this wire off. That's not cutters. Okay. Two. This is the third wrap. Third. Fourth. And then we're going to do our fifth and final little wrap right here. Come back up and go around one extra time. Just like so. We're going to cut this, and then I'll do it 2 more times on this side too, and I will slow it down a little bit just to make sure that everybody understands what it is that I'm doing. And then I'm trying to think how I'm going to want my loop. I'm going to do it front facing, but if I have to switch it later, I always can do that. So I'm going to come right up to the top of where my herringbone is. But you see, I just pushed it down a little bit more. I'm leaving space so that if one of these get twisted, they can be put back the right way. And then I'm going to grab my bill making pliers. They're right here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to use the second step. I'm going to go down around, grab this wire and pull it to the back. I didn't leave myself very much wire. And you can make this V as short, long, whatever, as you personally want it. This is a very easy and customizable. Why did you just do that wire? Sorry, it flipped up where it wasn't supposed to be. Because I didn't leave myself very much wire. So definitely do more than a 5-inch wrap. Yeah, that's not enough wire. I'm just going to have to make my loop a little bit smaller so that I can at least get it around this one time. Yeah, let's see if I can do that rather than having to start over. Okay, there we go. And then there's the first side. So you can see how pretty that will be as a front facing. What I am going to do, guys, is I'm going to do the herringbone piece once just on a piece of wire without all of the other stuff getting in the way. Just so you guys get a clear visual of what I'm doing. And then I will go and do the other side. I'm going to turn a little loop at the bottom here just so that there's nothing, it's not going to fall off, and who knows, maybe I'll use it for a pair of earrings. Sorry. I do the herringbone very quickly. It's one of those wire skills that I learned early on before my memory got worse. So it's quite a bit easier for me to do it. Hi, Delon. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Georgina. Did I miss anybody else? I hope not. So we're doing this necklace bar, like V bar. It's not really a bar because I did this bracelet bar last night. So I was explaining that this could be done as a necklace and then decided, okay, well, that's what we're going to do. But because it's a little bit fiddly on this, I'm going to show the method that I use on a straight piece of wire with no other beads on it, no little curves, no nothing, just so that you guys can see it. So all I do is start the wire and I just go around once. And then once it's around, I push the two ends together and I pull very tightly, just like so. And then I put the stone on the wire. And I have this facing the wrong way. Hold on. There we go. And then I start my herringbone wrap. And the English cut is a little bit, it can be a little bit trickier to herringbone around it because you're not getting like a round. So, or it's a bicone, and a bicone, you know, you have the sharper point. This doesn't really have a given side. The facets are kind of all over the place. So, don't get discouraged though. Do it a couple times. I had to take several off because I didn't like the way that they were looking on the necklace last night or the bracelet bar last night. So don't feel like, you know, you're not going to get it, because I think you will get it just fine. I don't know why I just wrapped that. Okay, so we're going to do the other half of the wrap, and we're going to go up and over. That's one full rotation. We're going to turn our wire. We're going to make sure that the wire is behind the first one. And you're going to go around. Once you've done your first rotation all the way, sorry, I forgot to say this. If they're too far up or too far back, the first wrap is the place to fix that. That's not really something that's fixable after the first wrap. So you want to make sure that where you want these wires set are set the first time you go around before you start the next rotation. And then you're just going to tuck the wire up behind the first one, go all the way around and out. Now, I've done 2 full rotations over the starter wire here, so it should be nice and hidden. And we're going to do the third one. We're going to go around and out. Turn your wire and complete the third one. There's 3. And then you're just going to keep doing that. And I like to check if these start to get a little too spaced out. I try to kind of push them together and keep them going where they should be going. And you're just going to keep doing that. And the beauty of using a thinner wire is you could literally continue to go down, almost covering the entire back of the bead if you wanted to. It would be quite long, but it would be possible because the thin wire tends to stack up very nicely, and you can just keep pushing it down and then pull it tight and go around. I know this is much more than 6, but I just want to show you what that would look like. But once you get confident in this, you can see how fast I'm going. So see the sides there? You can keep going along. I've seen people do a double-sided herringbone. I've also seen people do what they called a closed herringbone, which is just where you do the entire back of the bead and you don't see anything at all. Now, earlier I said if you wanted to splay your wire out a little bit more, good dogs. Good job, guys. Something with the squeaky brakes just is in front of my house and they didn't. Good job. I don't know who it is, but anyways, it's garbage truck. Duh. So if you take your flat nose pliers and very gently compress the sides, you can see you get a wider profile. It does not mess up the wraps on the side because I'm doing it very softly. I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers and just gently pull this, or it's kind of like a push and pull method. And it's just to kind of spread out your wires. And this isn't necessary, especially if you're using a larger gauge. A larger gauge tends to have a longer profile, but there you can see it in comparison with the profile on these. This profile is much wider. But you have to be careful when you are flattening your wires because you don't want to pull the wraps out of place because then it's not going to sit correctly. So it's a very soft, it is 28 gauge wire, so it's not very thick. So it's not going to be difficult to do. But that's if you like the wider herringbone with the thinner wire. I like to do this because I have thought about doing this as kind of like peacock wings or feathers. I think that could be really fun because I feel like this is what the top looks like. Plus, Tina just did that beautiful thing. I made it like in my 20s and stuff. Well, it started out, I was raised at LDS. So I first learned how to make jewelry during a young women's activity. Where I lived at that time, the young women's president was very set on we needed to learn how to do all homemaking things. We learned how to sew. We made an entire outfit from start to finish. We learned how to can. We learned how to cook. We learned how to make jewelry, all of these things. And it was that young women's leader that taught me that there were ways to make money even without ever having to leave the house so that you could be a stay-at-home mom. She was very big on that, which considering that this was what, 25, no longer, almost 30 years ago, and she was probably 65 at the time. She was very much a proponent of there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, but you can also still make your own money, which I really appreciate because I used to work corporate America and made a lot of money. So Steve has never made money like hard. But it's just something for me. I like to have it. So no, I'm using, this is 18 gauge wire. I just grabbed the 18 gauge wire to go around it. But see how this looks like the top of a peacock wing? Just imagine if you just kept going and kept going and kept going. Like, it would be really wide and long. And it would, the back of it would be fully covered all the way. And I just think that looks very pretty. Also, I'm going to show you this just because I've wondered about it. And Rosanna, I hope you're watching the screen right here. Because yes, because when you take it off and the bead drops out, okay, see, you're still left with all of these little pieces that if you very carefully pull them apart, which I flattened them so it's not going to do it, they could almost become flowers just by slowly pulling them out and apart. My whole thing is that I was like, okay, but how do we reconnect them at the center? So I don't know if like maybe I should have just left, I should have taken off the top part of it and left the bottom part on the wire. That may be how to do this. But that's my creative mind. I see this and I'm like, okay, how can I still use this wire pieces? So I think if you just left the bottom part on, it would probably be easier. But look how pretty that is. I don't know. I'm weird. But this is my technique for the herringbone, especially if I'm doing a multi-herringbone piece. I like to use the thinner wire so that I can make more wraps without it being too bulky. So we're going to go back over here and we'll start our next herringbone wrap. I don't know. Oh, that's 18 gauge wire. Still pull that out while I have it open. I don't know why I was looking for my blue tubs for the right wire. I generally like to use, if I'm doing a pendant, I like to use 22 gauge on either 18, or if you have beads that can go on to a 16 inch without it being loose, because when the beads are really loose, it does tend to make it a little bit trickier to do the herringbone because there's a bunch of space in here that it just doesn't work as well. So about 12, I don't know, 12-ish inches is about what I pull off. I do have leftover wire to cut off, but as Rosanna said earlier, I would much rather have leftover wire that was, I could have saved a little bit, but that made everything quicker. Like I said, you want to pull this really tight. And if you ever do feel like it's too high, you can just roll the wire and it will go out without leaving a kink in the wire. I don't know how to explain that, but it works. All right, let's find one with some cool. This is why I dumped them all out. Because I'm not that person that can just pick up bead after bead after bead after bead and just go with it. That's not who I am or how I create. It's just, I'm tugging on the top again just to make sure. I like the way that that's nice and snug. Come up, make sure you go back over that wire again because we're getting ready to hide it. First one, this is where you make sure it's not up too far or down too far down, that you're not going to have enough surface area to continue wrapping. There's two, and I'm getting ready to go over this original piece of wire for the second time. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. And I'm going to start my third rotation. And you see that I turn it because I want to make sure that my wraps are staying in order, which is very important. If they don't, it's just going to cause chaos, especially if you're doing a piece where you want to keep wrapping. You're good. Also, if you just want to do one herringbone, you can still use this technique to do the herringbone. I'll go through like the full thing of a larger herringbone to show you what I mean by like how you go over the wraps and stuff. And I'll show you why I like that for pendants. This one, obviously, it's part of a pendant. It's not, the herringbone isn't the whole pendant. So where am I at here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay, so this is the 5th wrap, which is all I did on the other ones. See, you don't need nearly as much wire as I cut off. I have a lot left over, more than I'm actually happy with, but it is what it is. It's already done. Okay, find my little spacers here. And these little black beads are spinel. So it's still a full, like, oh, come on. There we go. That's actually good for me because it's seated in. Okay, I'm going to actually cut 12 inches and see, instead of 12-ish, and see how much wire I have left over at the end so that I can give you like a fair measurement. You get back down there, sir. Thank you. I'm going to come around once, push my ends together, and pull tight. Then I'm going to add this bead on and start my first wrap. So around once. Make sure that you go over and over that first little thing. See, this is too far up for me. So I'm going to stretch it back to where I want it and then keep going. And I promise you, once you get the hang of the herringbone, it's going to be something that you can like kind of speed through with still a very nice looking piece. Of jewelry without it taking a lot of time, but giving it's still beautiful and completely wire wrapped. So it should still be pretty impressive to potential customers. I'm going to go ahead and cut this like so, and we will make our other loop. Oh, I turned this the wrong way. This way. I'm going to turn this just a smidge up from where the herringbone is so that when I come around and wrap my loop, I'm not going over the herringbone. And then I started with the second step thing, and then I scooshed it together a little bit. So I'm going to have to do that again. And I did so just by like taking my little pliers and kind of rolling it in like so. Going to compare and go in just a little bit more. But this is still larger than what a first step loop would have been. See, the first step goes in and there's plenty of room all around, but it still gives you the room to do the wrap. Again, I'm going to push my herringbone down because I don't want to damage the delicate wire wraps when putting my loop around. And then you want to be very careful that you isolate that bead. Hold on, it's not pulled tight. Is now. Punched myself in the chest. Okay. All right. So now we have the two loops. We have the herringbones on here. Oh, that is the way it goes. That look very nice as they come together. Now, we can just wire wrap one of these spinel beads in this loop and call it good. Or you can use that loop. We could use that loop to attach. I think that's a little big. Well, maybe not. Sometimes I'm going to give you guys a little hint. Hi, Sid. The lawn is the best. So, sitting down, looking at this from my point of view, this looked way too big to go with this. But I can look over at my screen, and because it's an above shot, it doesn't look too big to me on my computer screen. So if you're ever not sure, stand up, look at it from the top view to make sure that it is what you're wanting. So now we can do something. I will probably grab And however I connect this, there might still be room for a little spinel bead. So that's not completely off the table either. These are just a little bit squished up. So since I'm not going to do a bead in there, that's much better. I didn't like the way that those two were sitting on top of each other. But by just making the loop a little bit smaller, they're not like over the top of each other as much. There we go. There we go. Sorry, I was completely out of frame. I was not under the camera. I just did again the same trick. I made the loop a little bit smaller so that these two weren't sitting right on top of each other. But I still think there would be room for spinel if we wanted to do it. So yeah, let's go ahead and use this. Do I want to wire wrap it with 24 or 22 gauge? That is the question. I'm trying to think if there would be a way to do a small herringbone with the spinel to hang in front of this. I mean, what does it hurt to try? We definitely won't need as much wire. I didn't even stop to see how much wire I use. Let me see what that would look like really quick. And do I want to do it with those? No, I want to keep it the faceted round. Okay. Let's try it. No harm, no foul, right? If it doesn't work out, take it off. Put a little baby spinel on. I also thought about like putting spinel like on and then trying to spiral around it. That was my other thought of what we could do. Mm-hmm. Cut this little wire off and do my third row. One more, I think we'll make it the right. So I'm trying to do it a little bit more exaggerated with all the wraps, and I think this is going to be just enough for however many rotations that just was. You just have to keep the wire in order. Is all I'm trying to do right here. There we go. And around one more time. And then we have like a longer graduated, but look how pretty that will look. And I'm just wrapping this around because I don't even really want to risk that herringbone in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to decide if I want to leave it skinny or if I want to like split it out. I think I kind of like it skinny. So let's take I think I would need to take this loop off. No. This is going to have to be its own thing. Okay. I was seeing if there would be a way to wrap this directly on and not make it like a charm that went on it. I'm not going to cut it off this wire just yet because there might be some way to do it. My head is percolating as we speak. So I might be able to use part of that. My hands are all dirty. Steve bought me a polishing cloth even. But, you know, I'm not used to using it, so it gets just kind of put to the side. I even have like 100 of them over in the cupboard right here. But here's one. Just to get the black off of the wire before I start wrapping with it. Keep it skinny. Okay, everybody's like, nope, nope, nope. You've never heard of whetstone spinel? It's the best. Oh, hun. And I have it like itty bitty. And that just kind of graduates. That's the size we're using now. And then this is like bigger. And then I have it in cubes in a couple of sizes. I don't know why my smaller cubes are in there, but I have those. And then spinel is very reasonable when you keep it to like the small ones, which doesn't always make sense. But when you get to like this size, they're really expensive. But look at how, not really expensive. I shouldn't say that. They're more expensive. But just look at how they wink up at you. They're so pretty. So pretty. That's one of the things I was thinking about pulling out in, what did I just do? In advance for the sale, because most of you ladies that have ordered from me before love the little baby spinel. So, yeah, it's just so pretty. It gives you maximum sparkle, like whatever shape it is. Okay. So let's come in from the back here. It would be cool if I could figure out a way to do like the bail and then have this hang off of the bail in some way. But the only way I can see that happening would be to like keep pliers here when I bend up and then do the rest of my wrap that way. I think this might be too wide. But if I use my more slender pliers, if I end up here, let me just, I'm very cognizant that I was just touching my face with like copper grime on it. So my daughter's like, do you know how many times you touch your face when you make jewelry, Mom? So many times. So that also could be. Okay, so if I grab out my thinner profile, honey, they're not expensive. Like literally, I'll pull it up in my phone, the smaller ones. Okay. And Dylan, I got your message. Yes, please just sign in. Are you kidding me? No. Sorry, Squares. Like checked me out, so I have to sign in. Now it's gonna text me a code. I'm glad this is all secure. Every other time except for a time like this when I wanted to go fast. So hey Quinn, no. Okay. I will go to my items. I don't know if these are still the prices, but I've sold spinel in the last, like, this year. I don't see it being much more, but items, all items, spinel. Okay, so a strand of the 2mm faceted at the time, whenever this last thing was created, was $6. The 3mm is $7.50, and those are nobody's ever ordered the other sizes. So, but when you get up to the bigger size, I think it's like $30 for the 8x6, but don't quote me on that yet. Like I said, I don't know the last time that I sold spinel, but I know it was sometime this year. But it's not a bad price. Like, you get a full strand of 2mm faceted spinels. And even though they are itty bitty teeny tiny, I do want to show you, because I've gotten spinel from other places. I hope you'll be able to see the hole in it. Do you see how you can still see my skin through? I've never gotten spinel anywhere else that has that hole size in a 2mm bead. Like, you can clearly see through the bead to my hand. So I'm showing you this to say it's not as hard to string as you would think it would be with it being that small, but it's not. So I've gotten spinel elsewhere, and you have to use the fine beading wire on it. Some of them I've had to use like the pearl silk to get through it with those itty bitty teeny tiny needles. So that's all I'm saying, that I'm pretty sure those are still the prices, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay. So, sorry, I did that kind of fast. I just put my plier there to create space at the top. Now, we're going to try, I don't know if I'll be successful, but I'm going to try to go ahead and bend this one back and bend this one up straight. And then I should be able to take my plier off of there and hold it here to do my wrap. And this should leave me enough space on the front to dangle that little baby spinel. And that may be all that we do, which will mean I cut way too much freaking wire, but that's okay. Well, no, because once I get my butterfly veil done, it won't be too much. Okay. Pull that back quite enough. I don't want the cut to be on the front. I want it to be on the side. Okay. So now we've got this. Yes, it looks a little bulky right now. And I'm not sure this is going to work. I may need a finer point right there than what I used. But let's see. Grab my bail making pliers right here. Oh no. Okay. I'm not going to do a butterfly bail because we're going to want to connect there. I wasn't thinking straight. Okay. So we don't want a big loop because we're connecting to that one. I cut way too much wire. Well, maybe not once I get the wire down further. I'm just pulling this tight to ensure that I've got a nice loop shape there. Even if I didn't, I could go back after I'm done wrapping this and it would have been fine. Okay, so now I need to hold this. No, I need to hold the loop for the first little turn. And I'm just going to go down directly under my loop from my other bead. That might not have been smart. No, I just needed to pop that up a little bit. Sorry, my loop was not like centered where I wrapped it. There we go. So this won't cover all of that little gap, but I think it will be okay. I think we're going to get down. Oh, maybe we're down just far enough to have that opening, and that was the right size. Oh, sorry. I feel like that was the right size because, oh, that was the right size. It leaves me just enough. So I have this last little bit, which is always the trickiest because the last thing you want is to be getting this back here and have your pliers slip on you. Actually, I don't think I want that in the front, so I'm going to cut it off back here. But hey, it's rounded now, right? I'm going to tuck that up inside without messing it all up. Just give it a little squish. These are all highly technical terms. Okay, yes, please, just go in underneath the rest of the wraps. Okay, and success. Okay, so now we should just be able to make a little loop on this. Should we put a little spinel on either side? Or just make that be it and just dangle that? No harm in seeing what it looks like. I don't think I would want to go the same size, but I'm also not sure that the smaller 3mm spinel will go on 18 gauge. The only thing with the smaller ones is that sometimes it's a little difficult to find the hole. Yeah, no, those aren't going to go on 18 gauge. There's no way. Let's see if I can find it on the mat, since I can't seem to find it in my head. No, it's fine. Keep it simple, Heather. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do the other end is all. That's the part that has me like, because obviously I don't want this to be able to slide off. So that's where I was like trying to figure out what to do. I don't like the way that looks. What about the smaller ones? Oh, I think these are the same size. Yes, they are. They're wanting these ones, Heather. I just don't want it to, I want to keep it like as dainty and pretty as possible. But it's obviously too late to do. No, it would have to be black, but I don't want to take away from that. Ha ha ha. Any thoughts? What about tiny gold beads? With the copper and the black? Let me see if I can find my kababa box real quick. I looked for it the other day while I was live and then never went back and looked for it when I wasn't. Is this it? Okay. let's see here. That is jade. That is garnet. Is this kababa? No, that is amethyst, which I needed to pull out anyway. So is that. That is also amethyst. Okay. Oh, I have smaller kambaba. I know I do. I just do not know where my darn kambaba box is. Let me see if this is it. That's garbage. No, that's going to go there. I just had it out when I was trying to figure out. There's some boxes here under my desk that might be the bottom. And it is. Okay. Woohoo! Success. So I have some like little 4mm, but then there's also, let me see what this would look like on either side, if it will even go on the 18 gauge, which I don't, oops, we got it on-ish. But can we do that in our favor? It won't go up any further than that. I don't like it. Man, how am I going to finish this off? Rosanna, do you have any ideas? Are you here? Hello, Mary. Oh, honey. Hi, Heather. I hope he's okay. I didn't see that online. I apologize. What am I? Oh my gosh. What is my problem? I'm ridiculous. I hope it wasn't a bad one, Mary. Just make yourself a ball head pin. That's why I was like, I'm ridiculous. Why I didn't think of that sooner, I don't know. It will keep the herringbone in place without having to put anything else on it. Finishes it off nicely. Cute. Yes. You probably want to make a multi-piece dangle. Oh, goodness, Lynn. And then, again, I want just a very little bit of space right there above the herringbone. Because for you who just came on, I wrapped this specifically. So I just put a pair of pliers, fine nose pliers, right there, and then did my bend for this side of it. And then I wrapped around that and I did that. So there's plenty of room for me to attach it. But I did just twist it the wrong way. I don't want to keep messing with the spinel or with the copper wire, the like herringbone. So instead of moving that around again, I'm just going to do it this way. And then that should hang beautifully. I don't even think I want a step 1 loop. I think I want to use my micro round nose pliers to make this loop. I have to make it big enough to go over the 18 gauge wire, but I don't want it to be so big that it becomes let's see. And this might have to be a simple loop, which we all know how I typically feel about simple loops. I just don't know how I would manage to like wind that around. And I would like to direct connect it. So let's see if that's going to be possible. Or if I just put that on backwards. I just put that on backwards. Okay. So we need to come in from this side. Yes. Okay. Oh, I might be able to get a loop. Ha. I'm very excited about this little dangle thing here that I left. So excited that I figured that out. I'm sorry that I'm not like giving, So this one wasn't as bad. He broke his hip previously. Am I getting all of that right? I'm sorry about your mother-in-law, Lynn. Is that correct that he didn't break his hip this time? Or did he break his hip this time? Oh, okay, good. Good. I know that there's lag time because, you're on the other side of the globe, but. Okay. So, take your mind off of it with a little bit of beadiness. This, little situation here, I'm very excited about because, as you all know, I'm not a big fan of, I like to keep things pretty simple profiled. I'm going to pull this up and tight, but I don't want it right on top of the herringbone. There we go. Perfect. And because it's wire, we can kind of pull this forward and bend our herringbone down. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Why is the top doing that though? No, sit up where you're supposed to be. I think this needs to be a stronger straight right there. Yes. Either that or I need to cut off this bottom ring. I think that's what I'm going to need to do. So I'm just going to snip it back here. I think this last ring around the top is what is creating issues. I'm trying to get in there carefully so just the one comes off. Did I get it off? Yes. Tucking it caused a little bit of an issue. Okay. I'm going to tuck that in later. I'm going to round my loop back up using my round nose pliers and just kind of pushing with force and rounding it to make it a rounder loop. And then I think I just need to set the loop a little bit further back so that it balances better. That's all. Yeah, that'll be better. And then once it's on, it'll be good, I think. I think. But like I said, there have been so many times that I wanted to hang something on the front like this. So to have figured this out, I'm really excited about. So. Yeah. Yeah. That's all I'm going to want. But yes. Yes, I really like the way that lined up. I'm excited. Okay, now we can do the rest of the necklace. Ow! Did I really forget to attach this? How did I forget to do that? I'm just going to try to make the loop on here a little bit smaller without keeping these feathers getting too loose. And I'm just going to have to use a jump ring. There's no two ways about it. It's just what's going to have to be. So we'll just use this little scrap piece of wire to make myself a small little jump ring. Which makes me happy because I like as little waste as possible, but I don't know that that is big enough for both pieces of 18 gauge wire to go through it. We're going to find out. Hey, no dig. No. But then I'll have to make this loop face the other way to the front. I don't like the way this loop looks. It's fine, Heather. Heather, it's fine. It's fine. Where did my little jump? Oh, there it is. No, here it is. Oh, no. It does fit both. Not that one. Yep, I like it. Okay. I might make this a little sharper though. So that, and then we just have to decide. Originally, I wanted this wires or these loops to be at the side so that when we strung the top piece, it could go through the loops. So I don't know why we didn't do that. Okay, there's that one. I'm holding the bottom loop to kind of keep it where it's supposed to be. And now we should be able to put our beading wire directly through these two little loops as we go through. So let's grab some beading wire. I have the fluorite, which is the lighter green color. And I can use that, or I can use the antique copper. I don't think I want the antique copper because this is an antique copper. So I think I'm going to go with the fluorite one. You guys, I really like that. That has spots for my multiple sizes. The only other green I have is like a Kelly green that Rosanna gave me. Or that's the color of it. It's like grass green. So yes, you need to go get something before the shop's closed. All right, hon. You go do what you need to do, sweetie. Okay. You would just do chain for the rest of it, no beads? Okay, well, that's what I was thinking. And then I was just going to string something in between, but I see what you mean. It is going to be a weird angle. Okay, well then, what kind of chain are we going to make? That is the question. The bright copper, or like the rose gold plated that I have. This is the only two options I have. I have the leaves, which I've never known how to use these without them being just the chain. It is Rainforest Relics. I have never found something to use this chain for. My only is that it won't be directly connected, but that's okay. Even if we only did this up to like the décolletage and then did the thinner chain around the back, or we just use this chain that has a knot on it all of a sudden. Oh, there it goes. Or we would just use this. And then if we use this though, we could still go through the middle with the chain if we want. Oh, you have to take that off, Heather. Those are not my white nose. Those are the needle nose. If I do this little chain, I could do a small wire wrap spinel every so, like, to kind of break up the chain. Sorry, my mind is... That's what I was thinking, Lynn. Even if I don't double the chain all the way up, I think I want two in the center. Maybe one that is just chain and one that has spinel directly in the middle. Or the bottom one would have the spinel and the top one wouldn't, whichever. And then, like I said, I don't know that doubling it, well, it could look really pretty. Let me make a little spinel link real quick. I will do it with, like, I'm probably going to do a 24 gauge wire because I would want it really simple, just pulling the color through. Okay, where'd you put the rest of your spinel? Over here. These holes might even be big enough to directly put the link in the chain. I'll show you what I mean by that here. Is there a piece that's not attached? No, that's right. These are the ultra long chains. Okay. Let's see here if it is. I would want like so. I should have 26 somewhere. There it is. But what you can do, I don't know if I've shown this technique before. Sorry. It's actually rose gold. I got it off, I believe I got it off of Amazon. If I didn't get it off of Amazon, I got it in like some kind of like a box, but I know that it's 18. I know that it's rose gold plated. The only thing about it is that it does this a lot. So I've used it for like a bracelet before with just like one stone in the middle, which is really pretty because it lays very nicely. You could even just make a bracelet directly out of this, and then it doesn't have like the room to kink up like that. Now, keep in mind, it's doing this because I have it out and I'm like playing with it. If it was, it would probably be fine otherwise. But that could be really pretty with just like one of the Kambaba Jasper coin beads in the middle of it. Like, since we didn't use those today, where did I put them? Like, this is a really dark, mostly black one. Oh, Heather. But just like the one Kambaba Jasper right in the center of it, probably like a pretty green one with a lot of just mostly green, like that. That would be stunning. I will look it up and I'll send you a link. I think it's just leaf chain. Okay. The technique I was going to show you. That's the other end. I'm going to measure out like a 3-inch strand because that's how I would normally space. Let's do 2. And then all you do is take whatever bead it is that you're going to use. You take some wire. You're going to have to be able to fold the wire back in. So it's going to take 3 passes of wire to do this. So you need to make sure that you can put it through. And then you just put your bead on. You go through the link of chain on the opposite side. Same on this side. And then you feed that one back through to the other side, but not through the link. And then you need to do the same thing on the other side. And I think that I'm going to be able to get 3, maybe not. I might need to go down to the smaller size, to the 28 gauge. Nope. Whoo, that poked. Oh, it went through though. Oh, that was definitely not a flush cut end of chain, but that's okay. And then you just pull both sides through until you don't see like either end. And then I like to do one little wrap of the wire on either side, but like right at the bead. Otherwise, it's visible, and this is supposed to be like encasing it in the bead so that it looks like it is part of the chain. You did not. But then, when you look at it, it's part of the chain. It's okay. That look is totally worth it, is it not? It's so worth it because then you have a beaded chain without having to like have the wrapped loops or any of that. And even if you use a hybrid loop, it's not going to look this clean. Because this way, like literally the wire is crisscrossed inside of itself. And I'm happy I was able, did I use 26 or 24 now? I think I used 26. Yeah, it was 26. So I used 28 for the herringbone, just to make sure everything's clear. 18 gauge as the base wire. The ball spacers, I believe, are 4 millimeter. Where is my caliper when I need it? You guys wouldn't believe how many times, like right after we get off, I'm like, oh, there was my caliper. Okay, the ball spacers are, no, they are 3 millimeter. The spinel are like 3.5 millimeter. And then the Kababa Jasper English cut is the Kababa Jasper. But see, like, doesn't that just like kind of take it to the next level though, to have the same beads that are in the necklace incorporated up in completely clear? All your last year when you started learning. I've been here, honey. I'm sorry you didn't find me though. But yeah, so then we just have to decide like how many times. Where's that Georgia chick now? Tell me my stuff isn't up market enough. Still have no idea what that means. I looked it up. There was like, it kept trying to find something that said upmarket. Like, so I think that lady made up that term, or, you know, it's a term she got from somebody else. Okay, so now I'm going to cut. I want to do one more beaded part. So I'm going to cut it at 2 inches again, right at the end of the bead. So whenever you're doing, oh my gosh, I think it's called cup chain pearl beads, where there's like the thread and then a pearl and then more thread and then a pearl, or you're just trying to string beads. Your length of chain should always be cut from the bottom of one bead to the top of the other bead. You don't want to start the cut up above this and try to match that. No. To keep it even each and every single time, you want to start at the bottom of one bead and the measurement goes to the top of the other one. Otherwise, it's just not ever even. I'm telling you this because I've had pearl necklaces that I was knotting that didn't turn out. Okay. You need to lay out straight so I can make sure I didn't cut that a little bit too short. No, perfect. Okay. So then we're going to grab this other side. We're going to grab us some more 28 gauge wire. No, 26 gauge. Sorry, 26 gauge wire. And even though you are using a smaller gauge wire, because it crosses back over it, and the way I learned, they don't wrap the wire around. I like that for just extra security, but if you look up how to make a beaded chain, they will tell you just to pull it through and cut, and that crisscross is enough to keep it straight. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't jive in my head. It probably would be okay. I like the added security. So get the chain out of the way. You're not going through any of the links on the chain. Okay? Not any of them. You're only going through the, well, except for the first time. You know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. Come on, little wire. Oh, there it is. And the other plier. And just pull until the chain links. And you see, you want to pull until this would be okay because that's the same size as the length of chain, but you're not supposed to have any chain visible. Not the way that I learned. Well, that one just popped. See, that's something else that happens, but it's inside. I'll at least wrap this one around. Dang it. The thing is, it's not easy to get it off once it does that. Like, to cut that free is, well, you would just lose a link of chain, or a link. Come on. You need to kind of cozy yourself back in. Sorry. I know that this is like not easy to see or anything. I apologize. I hope I'm trying to show you throughout the step to make sure that you have the best understanding. But there's that. I think I would probably only do, so if we do here to another 2 inches, that would be 2, 4, 6. This is about 2 inches. 2, 4, 6, 6 is 12. Or no, I'm going to do one more beaded one, and then I'll do the chain around the back of the neck without a bead. This is the way that I will do it. So I'm going to take my measuring, my ruler, and I'm going to have it at the bottom. You'll see I don't have my bead at 2 inches. I have it at just over 2 inches. And then we just need more wire. Let me pick up some of this scrap. I'm going to try to get everything else off. And I'm going to pull Pixie down just a little bit further. And do my damnedest to stay under my mat. I'm moving all the scraps, everything out of the way so that hopefully all you see are my hands. No, you come over here, sir. You too. I don't need any of those getting messed up. Okay. I'm trying to clear everything so that it's just my hands, but the copper glint does mess Pixie up, so I need to get that off. Okay, there we go. No chain bits left. All right. Now it should just be, yes. All right. Okay, we're going to grab another one of the beads. Wait. Oh, look what I did. I used the big one here and a small one here. So we're going to turn this and we're going to pretend like that was intentional. That's probably why the second one went so much easier. We'll pretend like it was intentional. It was intentional. Bye, Delon. Rest well. That was a design choice, not a mistake. There's a difference. Sorry. This is probably taking way more time than you ladies want to spend here. I apologize. I'll try to speed it up a little bit after I do this part, because I do want to be careful and make sure you see this. Okay, you can see I'm just putting the bead on the wire and then the chain on both ends, like so. I'm then going to take the wire and feed it back through the bead, which is not always easy. There we go. Nope. You didn't even go through, turkey. I think I better keep this wire, too bad. Let's see. Why did it went so smoothly when I wasn't up close? I don't understand. Happens all the time, though. I'm going to grab a different piece of spinel because this one seems to have a very, very, very small hole. Different gauge. And you can do this with 28 gauge. That's fine too. I just try to use the strongest wire I can. So then we're going to go straight back through this way. Oh my goodness gracious. It's right there. I don't know why it won't go through. Bend that down. Hopefully give myself some more room. And then I have to use the 28 gauge, which is fine. Let's see. Or only one is going to be small. And I will just use the bigger one if this doesn't work this time. And I can always cut off the other one. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I think I might go with a slightly bigger bead instead. Because even the 28 gauge isn't going through this. And I'm not going to go to 30 gauge. That's too small for me. So I'll just go back to the 26 gauge, just using the bigger bead. It is the bead that we used on the necklace, so I'm not like upset about that. It's totally fine. Oh wait, no, go back to the 26 gauge. Just FYI, you can buy a set of this. They have one that is 18, 20, 22, and 24. And then they have a separate set that is 24, 26, 28, and 30 gauge on Amazon. It's not a bad deal at all. It's Craftware USA. They also make the bronze wire that I like so much. So that's a good source for the wire. And I think the set is like under $20. They're not expensive at all. Yeah, that was much easier. Grab that, grab that. Sorry. It's under both sides, and I'm just going to pull it through. Like I said, some people like to leave that a wire loop. I prefer that all the wire be, almost all of it be under, so that then I can wrap a little loop around and it does not show. Like so. And then I just trim that off right at the opening. Same with this side. Nice and strong. There you go. You have a little beaded chain. Looks nice, just like anything you would buy online. It's totally good. But I'm going to finish this and I'll show you the results this evening tonight. It's already been a little over 2 hours. So I'll be back on later tonight with, we'll probably, well, we'll see. If I have the other necklace that I wanted to do that we haven't done yet, but let me see where I get with this, and then we will figure out what we're going to do for tonight. But I will see all of you guys then. I'll see all of you guys then. It's at 5 p.m., just 4 hours from now. The only difference is that it'll be, you know, acceptable for me to have a glass of wine. But it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Anyways, you guys, thank you guys for showing up. I hope that I will see all of you later. And until next time, happy beading.